Good morning, everybody, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who has clicked on the subscribe button. That's awesome. I hope you're all enjoying these videos. This week won't be an instructional video. This week will be a little look behind the scenes here of my blacksmith shop. Now, I've been collecting tools and refurbishing tools for years, probably close to or more than 3 decades. We started out many years ago. My cousin and I were into blacksmithing. My cousin built a forge, a little hairdryer forge behind his house, which we moved into a dog coop. Yeah, dog coop. Yeah. After that, and we would blacksmith in a big dog coop, which the coop was actually more like a good sized shed. And the passion grew from there. Now my cousin has a farm up in Boston Spa, a historic farm, and he has a beautiful blacksmith shop up there, and this is my blacksmith shop. My dad and I built this years ago at my old house in Averill Park, and I goofed around with it there for a few years. Then my wife bought this house, and my dad and I numbered each board, took this shop completely apart, and we moved it to our new home, Howling Pines Smithy. My dad made that for me. It's been hanging over the door ever since. Here's just a peek of the madness, the obsession. We even went as far as to try to be historically correct and have shooting crosses in the doors and windows in case we're attacked. I've spent many years collecting these tools, oiling them, cleaning, making them serviceable again to try to preserve the history that's behind them. One of my favorites is my Bellows. This is actually used for a forge that I put together. It's a travel forge. It's a good sized travel forge. I know some people on here have seen pictures of it or seen it in use. And it's even signed July 14th, 1885. This Bellows was put in by W. Gilbreth. That came from Cambridge, New York. I would absolutely love to know what it was used for up there, but that, unfortunately, that information is long gone. Long-handled pan. That was a hearth pan used in the 1700s when they had a big giant hearth to cook in. It's blacksmith marked. The blacksmith who made it marked it on the back side with 3 dots and a couple lines. I didn't think he would mind, so I kind of borrowed his mark. Over here we have the BF Sturtevant lever forge. It has a slate cutter on top because I have yet to find a suitable spot for the slate cutter, which was my uncle's. BF Sturtevant was more into forges and blowers back in the 1800s, and I do believe now, even to this day, they are still in business, and they produce air conditioner blowers. We have scythes, the PVs for rolling logs, which I've actually used that a few times. Boy, does it make quite a wonderful difference in rolling big giant logs. I have a collection of anvils, 175 pounders, stake anvils, vices, because you can't have enough stake vices or post vices. Depends on what you want to call them. Complete collection of flatters, fullers, cut-off tools, all a part of the history around here, because that's where most of them came from. Even the axe heads up there. Some of them are hand forged, and I have no idea when they were hand forged. There's no markings on them. There's one up there in the center. It looks a little silver. That's a cooper's axe that was made to make the staves for wooden barrels. That's from England. The large scissors up there, they're a cutoff. They were used in anvils to cut off pieces of steel or tin, depending actually how thick the steel was. But most of my tools I use for demonstrations come from right inside of here. That's a Buffalo forge, turn of the century, 1899, 1900 or so. That came out of a soda bottling plant in Troy, New York. And now she sits here. That's my primary forge. The foot treadles, I sharpen everything on the foot treadles. I have the smaller, wider stone here, which is a little bit heavier grit to break an edge on a piece. And then I have the smooth, soft, skinnier stone that's a little bit larger. You get a little more speed out of it. That's for doing my fine honing. Now moving on to another beautiful stake anvil. This anvil was cast in Bucks County, Pennsylvania around the 1750s. It was identified because of the mark on the side. You can find that anvil in, I believe it's the Early American Wrought Iron book. A neat post anvil I have, or post vise I have here, is an adjustable one. I've never seen another one like it. That's why it's closest to my forge. It's the most handy of the group. We have our cressets and our torches, masterfully created by a blacksmith in the 1700s. Obviously, it has a new stake in it. But what a beautiful job. And the torch, forge welded by a blacksmith in the late 1700s, early 1800s. You always have to wonder, did it sit in the front of a boat to light the way when they were crossing a river or a lake? Was it a torch used for fishing at night? It's just wonderful things you like to think about. Really neat stuff. All these tongs, these large tongs on the side of the forge and on the wall. The gentleman I got them from told me he purchased them from an ex-blacksmith at the Burton Ironworks, which is in Troy, New York. Now, Burton Ironworks was incremental in building the ironclad, which was used by the Union Army in the Civil War. And we have some big giant frying pans. They allegedly came from logging camps in the Adirondacks. We have our two-man saws. Unfortunately, the one on top was painted. I haven't stripped that yet and sharpened that, but that's in the works someday. All my different bow saws, I love them to death. The bottom one is my absolute favorite. And we have more shipwrights axes. We have ice axes. Every different type of axe you could think of is in here. We have the gas torches. They're handy. The old post drills, different hand drills, bits, braces, and the one-man saws. Even my little goat wagon came off a local farm many, many years ago. All little cute stuff. And now this, that you can see the wheel, that was belt driven. That is also a BF Sturtevant blower. And here's the up pipe. I have no idea what it was used for after it left Burton Ironworks, but it has approximately an 8-inch outlet. So that was pushing a lot of air. So that's probably most likely a foundry piece. Or it could have powered some of the forges down there in Burton Ironworks. English anvil. Well, this one's kind of neat because it's lopsided. During the casting, somehow the anvil got a little sideways, but still fully serviceable. Well, folks, here we are. This is what I hope to have more time to do in the future. Right now, I have my fingers in so many different things that I don't get much time in here. Coleman lanterns, because lanterns are just like potato chips. You just can't have one. All the pulleys I've saved. Right down to this big ship's pulley. And all the different kinds of traps. I don't use them, but they look really cool up there. Cleaned them up. Waxed them, stained them. For the most part, most of them. You kind of wonder, you know, you think back and you think about it, and how many different people handled these things. This was the bread and butter of our early years of our country. All these tools. What did they make? Who handled them? Where have they been? Kind of romantic, if you think about it. But I'm not going to talk your ear off for too much longer, because I don't want to bore everybody, but this is Howling Pines Blacksmithing. And no, I will not set that bear trap. I've already got a request for that. No thanks. That thing scares me to death. There it is. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to the subscribers. Thank you mostly to my wife, who puts up with the madness that's entailed in all of this. Hope you all have a great week. Enjoy this sunshine. Enjoy the greenery. And we'll talk again next week. Thank you.